What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk Talk Punch. I am Brody, joined by Tudong Dylan.
Hey!
And don't call him Chuck, Charlie.
Hey!
Thanks so much for joining us.
Hoo-ha!
Hoo-ha! Now, thank you so much for joining us. Whether you're watching us on YouTube or you're listening in on the audio version of the podcast, wherever you get your audio podcast, make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, hit the notification bell so that you can come back here every Wednesday to see what we're talking about. Kind of like this week's topic. We are doing our top 3
Movie remakes.
top 3 remakes that would melt the internet.
There we go.
I was trying to think
Number
of, like,
one
the right
just may
way.
shock you.
Trying to think of the right way to say that. And
That was perfect.
It's a long title. I'm gonna have to come up with something for the actual title in the video. But yes, so movies that we think would cause such an uproar that it would melt the internet. The flames, the heat from everybody's anger, the whole thing, it would just melt.
I'm counting on one of their picks to actually bring back the old wig flipping reaction. I'm counting on it, boys. I'm counting on it.
Tudell brought back the wig just so he could wig flip something.
That's right. It's got to be so shocking that the wig just flips right off the head.
Right off.
Hey,
right
my
off.
number one might shock you.
Just might shock you.
I'm just throwing it out
Number
there.
one might flip your wig.
We'll see.
Number one might melt the internet.
All right. So how did you guys put this together? Was this more of a personal list? Was this more of these are beloved movies that you think people would just be very angry about? What'd you do, Charlie?
Like, I'm going to be honest. This was an interesting exercise, and I'd love to revisit this topic with you guys because I found myself being talking myself into the idea that maybe it's a good idea to remake this a lot. And I'd be thinking through a movie and I'm like, oh yeah, people would be angry. But what if? It's like the from Arrested Development where it's like, oh, it never works, but it might work for us. Oh, it's a terrible idea, but maybe we can do it. We can pull it off. So I kind of constructed my list in 3 phases. My first, one that just people would just be angry.
Sure.
And then one where I think there would be a real split of people who are angry and then people who are excited, and then one where it would just people would be yelling. So I think that it's going to be kind of a fun. I'm really excited to see your guys' picks. I think it's a really fun topic, and I hope we get into it even more at a later date because I don't want the good times to end.
Sure. How about you, Tudong?
You know what? I was asking you guys about it, and I was asking about franchises or this or that, and then I thought I wanted to just do one from not from such a popular perspective, but more of like what you'd find on a film chat site or one of those like Joe Blow kind of things, where it's like they're just like, this is a stupid, terrible idea. Nobody is going to watch it, and in reality, nobody's going to care enough to watch it. And in some cases, it's like it's already really good. I can't see how you would improve it. The technology is there, the talent is there, and some people probably just don't ever want to see.
There you go. Yeah, I went with things that I think would kind of have like a following, like a passionate following, where people would just be angry. Like if they hadn't remade RoboCop would have been on my list of something that should not be remade, but that's already did it.
Yes,
bad. So that's kind of how I did it. But let's get in. Oh, Charlie, did you have something to add?
I just want to stress that these are not movies that we want to be remade. So I just want to head that off at the pass here.
Yes.
We are not suggesting that these should.
Others won't want is what it is. This is what we think others may not want.
These would be bad ideas.
Terms. You guys aren't going to want these stuff.
Bad ideas to remake these.
Although some of them might work.
And some might shock you.
Yeah. It's never worked before, but for us, it might work.
For us, it just might. Who was first?
All right, so the order today is Tudong, and then myself, and Charlie.
Nice.
Ooh,
These would be some of my most... This might be some of my most wild card picks because they're not franchises and it's from a film person's perspective. But my number 3, and this isn't for technique or anything, my number 3 happens to be Braveheart. I don't think people. I mean, it was when it first came out, people loved it, and it didn't age well. There's some really good acting, and there's some excellent moments, and some of it is put together very well. And it's also kind of difficult to then kind of see things as how not just completely inaccurate, but I mean, there's film errors in it that you're just kind of like, are you kidding me? I mean, it's like nobody's going to want to see this thing remade because it's so unbelievably historically inaccurate that the idea that it is anything about history is next door to insulting. And like I said, there's just some text. Like I said, there's great moments of acting. I love a lot of the and the shoot how the cinematography and how they did it and how they grabbed just the beauty of Scotland. Even I'm fairly certain I looked it up that they filmed there, but I don't think people are going to want to see this remade with anybody at any sort of helm.
What a score though! Beautiful score.
Oh, gorgeous score, gorgeous. That shouldn't be remade either.
No.
No, this is a good pick, Tudong.
I don't think anybody would want to see it. I think they'd be like, "What are you guys doing here? Like, what?"
But why?
I was just thinking about this movie the other day.
Yeah.
You were in my brain, apparently.
I always like to burrow on in there, Brode. Now, come on, give me the wig flip, Brode.
All right. For my number 3, now my number 3 actually changed right before this episode because Charlie mentioned this, and I was like, nope, that's a better pick than my pick. So my number 3 is The Fifth Element. I think The Fifth Element does have that cult following, me included, that I think and Charlie was like, I would like to see that be remade. And I'm like, no.
Let's do it.
It's got you because you have Bruce Willis, you have Gary Oldman, you have
Bruce Willis in his prime. That's prime Bruce Willis right there.
Yeah, right. You're not going to get another person who's going to play Corbin Dallas like Bruce Willis is. You're not. I think that this movie was just made at like the perfect time, and it is such a good movie that I think you would lose so much if you remade it. Because they'd want to up the technology, they want to do all this stuff. You have a lot of practical effects in here. The opera singer would all of a sudden be CGI, would probably have like 15 arms or something like that. I just think that this movie is great as it is. I don't think it should be touched. I think people would be really upset because I know this does have quite a following. So, yeah. Charlie, you were right. You said it. I took it. I ran with it. It's now my number 3. There you go.
It's
at the end of the list, I want to know what your other number 3 was before we wrap.
I agree. You guys know this was a foreign film technically, even though like the leads, like Bruce Willis is American. I mean, like it was a European production.
Oh,
I did not know that.
A little bit of Tudong trivia.
There you go. The more you know.
The more you know.
So, good pick, Charlie. Good pick, Brody, for putting it on my list and stealing it from Charlie. Even though Charlie said it should be remade, I disagree. All right, Charlie.
I'm just saying I'm open to the idea of more Fifth Element in my life. That's all I'm saying. All right, so if we're talking a shot-for-shot remake of things that people would go, why? And people then would just be infuriated, and that there would be no moment where the pitchforks weren't up and the torches weren't lit. I'm not sure that there's a better movie I could pick than my number 3, which is The Dark Knight.
Whoa! What? Wow! I'm flipping the wig, sir. I'm flipping the wig.
Yeah, that's a wig flip.
Batman movie.
If they came out, because look, I know we're indoctrinated into the era of superheroes kind of being rebooted and retooled and coming back and back. There's a brand new Batman movie out in the theaters now, but no one is mistaking that for replacing or redoing the last series of Batman movies or whatever. But if they came out and said, no, we really liked that Dark Knight, that Christopher Nolan universe, and we'd like to do it again, but this time, because Heath passed away, and we'd like the Joker to be more part of it, so we're gonna reshoot it, and we're gonna cast somebody else as the Joker, so that he can carry on throughout the movies. I mean, the internet would just melt to the ground. That movie would have no chance, and nor should it. That would be a terrible, terrible choice. It's never gonna happen. But if it ever did, oh man, I would not want to be working in the public relations department for whatever film studio thought that was a good idea. Warner Brothers.
No, Charlie, I actually thought about putting this on my list because I I thought exactly the same way. Of if something was actually just being remade for what it was, that if they ever tried to be like, you know what, that was really successful, and you know we want to make like more sequels that kind of spawned off of The Dark Knight, and so they were like, we're gonna remake it. You know, like yeah, it would be bad.
Yeah,
Be
that'd
a
be bad.
bad idea.
Wow. Good choice, sir. Good
Yeah,
choice.
that was
Earn
a
the
good
flip of
choice.
the wig there.
There
Earn
you
the flip
go.
of the wig.
There you go. All
All right, Lex
right.
Luthor. What's number 2?
Moving on to number
Yeah.
2, Tudong.
Yeah, me. Number 2. This is another film one where it's a film people would just be like, this is, I don't know how you would, I don't know how you would recast it. I don't know how you would remake it. And that happens to be from the 90s, Pulp Fiction with, directed by Quentin Tarantino. You know, you got Bruce Willis in his prime again. You've got, Samuel L. Jackson, unbelievable as always. You have like John Travolta right at that phase of his career where he was coming back into some serious acting right here.
Yeah.
I don't know who you could now. I'll say this: I am not a defender of Quentin Tarantino. I did not watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because of because of how his depiction of Bruce Lee, and because his plan was either him or it was going to be like the football player Jim Brown, and that was who like Brad Pitt's character was going to like beat up. And I was like, you're going to just try. I don't know why he wanted to just kind of destroy those two cultural icons. And he said, and Bruce Lee is, I mean, like, I have absolutely loved Bruce Lee since I was 6 years old. Like, my dad showed me Enter the Dragon, absolutely loved him. And just to say, oh, if you're not a fan, you can go, screw yourself or something. I was just like, wow, dude. Like in that, fine in that case. So I'm no apologist. I do believe he bites a lot of other better directors' work. He does have a really good way with a lot of different things with film. But this one right here, this one, I don't think could be really redone. I think the cast was unbelievable. The writing was phenomenal. And all of it was all of it was just, I don't think it could ever really be redone and have the same, not cultural impact or anything, but just the same, like it's one of those movies that it hits you and you're just kind of like, you're already just living in this world. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but there was something about it. I thought you just can't. It's magic that you can't redo. Right. Right. At least not in any time I could think of.
What if they remade it, but used all the same actors?
Okay. Once again, I think that'd be even worse. Did you see Be Cool with John Travolta and Uma Thurman? That was a terrible movie. They couldn't even do the dance scene again. They couldn't even do the same dance scene. And they made Uma Thurman. I was just like, you what? I'm not saying she was bad in it at all. I think that her role was horribly written, and they really talked down to her character. But I mean, she seemed like she was having fun. But you can't redo this. Not with the same cast. Not with any cast. You think Bruce Willis could do this? Bruce Willis can't come back and play Butch again.
I think Sam
I don't
Jackson.
know. Sam Jackson
Sam
totally
Jackson's
could.
the only one
He
who
hasn't
has
aged today.
You that John Travolta's going to come back. No, Samuel Jackson's the only one. And now I'll tell you this: the only way I'll accept this is if Sam Jackson played all of the parts. That's the only way I'll accept it.
There
if
it
he
is.
says no, can't be done. Everybody hates it. He does that. Everybody loves it. There's a win. But I
Okay.
mean, he is way too dignified to
I
do
was
that.
I was out on the remake, and now I'm in. I'm in on
Yeah.
the remake.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Now even I'm in. I talked myself into it.
Yeah, good pick, Tudong.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right. My number 2
Yeah.
has such a cult following that I think people would be really mad because I don't think it can be remade. I don't think it could be remade. Who would you get to pull into this? And it has such a fall. Are you going to flip the wig again just for
Yeah,
this?
I'm flipping. That was a good one, man. I didn't expect that at all. That was really good.
I think that people would be really upset if this got remade. Yeah. This is such a quotable movie, and it's an old movie, and I feel like this is a movie that has stuck around for a long time.
Yeah.
To where like you talk to like younger folk, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've seen Monty Python, Holy Grail."
Yeah.
But if some executive somewhere was like, we should remake that, and then some studio was like, "Yeah, we'll pay for that," Man, I just think that the internet would be so mad about this
Makes sense.
because I don't think it can be remade. I don't think the humor or any of it, like anything. I think it would be a horrible idea.
The director couldn't get as drunk as the original director throughout any part of the shoot. Not at all. And he was drunk throughout the entire shoot.
I just don't think it would work. I just don't think it would.
Yeah.
I think that
John
this
Cleese
exists.
wouldn't come back.
This exists like in this kind of special place, and to try to remake this just wouldn't work. And people would be ticked off.
Would be really upset.
That's a good pick.
Oh, thank you.
All right. My number two is a little bit on the nose. It's an obvious choice. It's a huge flagship property, and I think people would be really, really angry. But I also think it would just give content to like an endless amount of podcasts like ours and articles being written by various websites and just fodder for months and months. And the casting would be so fun, even though people would just be so mad throughout. So my number two is Star Wars.
Oh, all right.
And they say, hey, look, we're gonna remake the original Star Wars trilogy line by line, shot for shot, but we are gonna take out some of the incest. We are gonna take out some of the stuff that doesn't make sense. We're gonna line it up. We're gonna clean it up a little bit. People would be. I'm trying to picture a new Han Solo, a new Luke Skywalker, a new Princess Leia, a new Ben Kenobi. People would be upset, but then there would also be a contingent of people like myself going, wait a minute, what if they did that? And then we get 3 more movies after of like Sebastian Stan as Luke Skywalker or something. I could get excited about that and think about the casting shows. Who's the next Han Solo? Who's next? Every young actor in Hollywood would be auditioning for these roles. It would be the most coveted project of our time, and it would probably be so bad. But what if it was good? And the update in technology, it could be fun. Either way, it would absolutely shut the internet down. People would just be talking about it left or right, good or bad, everything in between. And then every casting choice as it got announced, you would have an unbelievable amount of opinions on it, and half the people might be yay, and the rest would be like, are you freaking kidding me? What are you talking about here? Anyway, I'm here for it.
Would you bring back Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi?
I'm great. Yes, I would. He'd be fantastic.
He already is.
Would you bring back the guy from Solo?
I'm open to that. People seem to dislike him more than I disliked him. But enough times passed. You'd have to line the ages up. So just I don't know how old that guy is, and an imaginary remake that's not going to happen. Can I be real here with you guys?
Of course.
They should have just done this instead of making The Force Awakens, because they essentially did it. They essentially said, let's rewrite the first script, and then we'll just go from there. It was like a soft reboot. And they basically just retold the same story. And if they just said, "Hey, look, we're gonna cast," people would have been mad, but it would have been better than what. Anyway, I'm more like my internet's already melting. I'm so upset thinking about it.
This is
once again, you have actually argued for this one even more than against.
I know you convince yourself into it.
I want it to happen. I my kids. They have no attachment to the 70s and the early 80s version. That at some point the graphics are just going to be so outdated that it's going to be like our generation trying to go back and watch like Buck Rogers or stuff like that, or we're like,
I love
maybe the story's good, maybe there's something fun here, but look at how silly they. It's just at some point it's going to be too hard to get past. Their future generations will miss out on this original beautiful trilogy. So I'm not opposed to the idea, but also it's a terrible plan. But it won't work, but it might work for us.
Hey, I love Gil Gerard as Buck Rogers, and if anybody could play Buck Rogers besides Gil Gerard, it'd be Nathan Fillion.
Hey, Nathan Fillion is Han Solo, man. There was a time. There was a time.
He was. Malcolm Reynolds. Captain Malcolm Reynolds was Han Solo. I'm sorry, Brody. I interrupted you. What were you saying?
I don't know.
Brody?
I don't know what I'm.
But Brody was about to say his number one, or I guess Dylan, it's your number one.
My number one? Oh,
yes.
All right. My number one I think would absolutely melt the internet. And also, I don't know how you would really do it. I don't think you could really update the technology in a way that would be substantial enough to warrant this. I don't think you could do. I mean, like, how marginally better could you do with the casting? I don't think you could. And if you could, in some areas, it'd be so marginal as to be preposterous. Once again, I'm not saying that this is a classic in my mind, or it's a franchise that I revisit so often. In fact, so often I will say that I don't really watch a lot of Pixar, and it's a lot of the sad stuff that Charlie was saying before. But it is the Pixar movie Toy Story. I don't know how you could do the graphics better. I don't know how you do the voices. Tom Hanks as Woody was unbelievable, and so I mean everybody was. Every single person was. I don't know. And people I think would be really, really upset if you even tried to do this. Now they're doing a. We even did the trailer review of the backstory for. Now that you have me, I'm not calling Buck Rogers for some reason. Buzz Lightyear. Buzz Lightyear. They're doing the prequel of that. And you know what? I'm okay with that. But they're not doing Toy Story again. They didn't do Toy Story 2 with making Toy Story 1. They keep doing it. I'm not saying that I won't watch it because I think the quality's bad. I think the quality of Pixar is excellent. So excellent that I don't want to have those emotional catharsis. I don't want to do that at all. I'm like, why would I want to do that? I want to have fun in a movie, at least for right now. I mean, who knows? It changes. But I don't know how you could. I think people would be upset. I don't know how they could possibly do it. Toy Story is my number one pick.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, because they did the sequels, which are all a little bit different. But yeah, to try
I didn't care. I didn't really go through them. I didn't watch the fourth, and I'm probably not ever going to. But you go back to that first one. How are you going to? First off, people will be upset if you remake this. If they're like, we're going back to the Toy Story again. We're gonna recast Woody and Buzz. Who are they going to get that's going to be better than any of the cast? I mean, how are they going to make it look any better? I mean, it looks great. I think people, and it's the following: it's Disney, it's Pixar. People would just be beside themselves with anger, whether they're young, whether they're old. I mean, this is the least wild card of my choices because I think this is Disney right here. Disney and Pixar, and you can't get more mainstream. And it's true. I don't know how you could do it. I don't know what you can do.
There you go.
I could see somewhere down the road if they keep all the same audio, don't change any of the voices, and just
is that really a remake then? Is that really a remake?
Just update the graphics. Because if you watch 4 and 3 and then you go back to 1, it is a little bit jarring the difference in the animation.
They can touch things up.
I can see that happening at some point, but you're right. Like if they recast like Woody, like if they got Colin Hanks instead of Tom Hanks, or even worse, Chet Hanks.
Oh my god! Oh. But I mean, still, I mean, they're going to write a whole different story. They're going to have different dialogue. It's not going to be as good. They're going to try and emulate it without actually making it their own thing, and it'll be terrible. Like nobody wants to see that. They did so well with all the others, not them the same as the previous. I think that this is, like I said, like I don't see how they possibly could do it. And if they did, people would still be pissed. Even if they figured out a way that Charlie approves and thinks that it's worth it. Even then, people are going to be like, I don't care. We don't. This is one of those that, I mean, I always say the Charlie seal of approval is universal. But I don't think even he would give this one.
Nah.
Yeah, I remember when they announced the Lightyear thing, people were upset that Tim Allen wasn't voicing Lightyear. And they were like, that's the only Lightyear that there is, that's the only Buzz Lightyear there is.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine if they
did he say he wasn't going to do it? He was like, I'm not going to do it. I'm done with it. Didn't he like kind of retire from the character? Tim Allen?
I don't know.
Isn't that why?
I'm not sure. But
I didn't know.
There you go. Good pick, Tudong. All right.
Thank you.
My number one is actually a crossover. Somebody. It's a crossover with Charlie. It's the original Star Wars.
Hey.
Boy, people would be so mad if they said they were remaking this. With how big this universe is and how many different directions they could go, you can still stay with Jedi, you can still stay with Sith. For Disney to come in and say that they were actually going to remake this, oh boy. This was what I thought of when I thought of melting the internet, of just the nuclear heat that would come from the internet if they announced this. Because, yeah, I know it's dated. I know it is. But like, there's so many different places you can go. There's no need to remake.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
Charlie, you kind of hit the nail on the head with your description there. I don't need to get too much farther into it, but yeah, this would be the one, man. If something were to explode the internet, it would be this.
What if they gave Darth Vader like a British accent? Would that like
Hello.
I don't think there's
me, your
The
father.
Force is
I don't
with
think there's
you, my
anything that they could do.
Hello,
And
it's me, Darth Vader. Yes,
I mean, you think about how people are like still upset that special effects were tweaked.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the movie still exists. And they just went in and did some touch-ups, and people are still
That's not
like
all they did, bro.
living.
That's not all they did. Okay.
Well, yes,
they didn't just do that. They added some things too. Now, didn't they? I could have sworn they added some things. They didn't touch things up. If they had just done that,
they're upset. They're upset.
if they had just touched things up, okay. But in Return of the Jedi, you're gonna put that ridiculous scene for 5-year-olds. At 5 years old, I would have been. I mean, at 6, I was watching Enter the Dragon. I would have been like, "What the heck? What is this? Why did they do it to us, bro?" Did you ever see the Family Guy version of all of their episode 4, 5, and 6? Because it's hilarious. They have a sock puppet come in as everybody is there, as if he's been added in. He's all like, "Hey, how's it going here?" And I'm just like, that's exactly what they did. How dare you, sir? Touch-ups indeed.
What?
You know what you did. A slap on the wrist.
Yeah, so they did more than touch-ups. They re-put in scenes. They altered scenes.
First.
They added a horrible thing into Return of the Jedi. But I'm just talking about, and I'm talking about the Jabba singing, not Jabba singing, but the song in Jabba's palace.
It is Jabba Palace. The song.
I'm talking about New Hope specifically.
Solo shot first, okay? He shot first.
But what if they did in a remake have Jabba actually sing? Like they pass Jabba a mic and he gets on there and he starts like crooning and he has like this beautiful Harry Connick Jr.-esque voice and he's just singing like a sultry ballad with his little mud flap arm and he's just it's just this sultry voice comes out. Come on, you wouldn't love that?
I'll tell you this. I thought he had a just fine voice. You're going to change it? You're going to dub in his voice? You might as well just put a sock puppet out. I say keep his original voice. He's all, I don't know how to do it really, but I mean, keep the original voice. But if they added that scene, I would be for it, yes. And I probably would really laugh if it was Harry Connick Jr.'s voice. The more I thought about that, I'm like,
Matthew McConaughey as Jabba the Hutt.
Off the stage.
All right.
So there you go. There's a taste of some of the heat coming from Dylan about what would happen if they remade that.
So my number one, I bounced a bunch of I had like a big list of movies, and I was trying to gauge if any of them would upset my wife, who's pretty unflappable when it comes to like this concept. And even like Star Wars, she's like, yeah, that people would probably be upset. And then finally, I said my number one, and she's like, you can't do that. They can't do that. What? And she got mad. And so I was like, oh, this one has to be my number one. Because if it can make her upset about the idea of a remake, then the whole internet's the world would burn. And so my number one is the Harry Potter franchise. And if they came out and said, we're redoing it, we want to recast these kids, we're starting over, we want to do over. We had 2 different Dumbledores. It was confusing. We just want one.
It wasn't confusing.
It was confusing.
We just want one Dumbledore. Alan Rickman, God rest his soul. So many people. It was a cursed movie franchise. So many people died. They're like, we're rebooting this thing.
So many people died, and it's cursed.
Died in real life. Richard Harris.
I love Richard Harris. Harry Potter.
Please,
he sounded like,
don't recast Dumbledore. poor Richard Harris. But if they came out and said, look, obviously it wouldn't make sense to do it now, but in like 10 years or 5 years,
even still, people.
I mean, in 20 years, there's like the book and the movie are so interwoven at this point. I think as we go through the books, reading with my kids and stuff, it's hard not to just picture the movie characters. It's so intertwined now in my brain. trying to picture some other glasses wearing kid as Harry Potter. And people are mean on the internet. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but
Yeah.
at
Never
times
seen
people are mean. And you read about what the poor young actor who played Anakin in the Phantom Menace went through with like what should have been like the most exciting thing that ever happened to him in his life, and like
It's like the
the
worst
just
thing.
the hell that he went through with people just being so angry at this kid who did not
That's
write
so
the
sad.
script and was not his fault.
He wasn't
And there's be
directed.
some kid going,
Directed.
"Oh my gosh, Mom, Dad, I'm the new Harry Potter," and then the world would just hate them. And the
Yeah.
poor children, protect the children. Don't remake the Harry Potter series. Now you want to give me a prequel that just takes place at Hogwarts with a young Dumbledore or something like that, a TV show? I'd watch that. You want to give me
What if it was a
a
cartoon?
postscript story?
What if it was a cartoon remake?
Oh, people wouldn't care. People don't care about the cartoon remakes because they would say, well, that's not my Harry Potter. People can. I feel like they're able to.
They're old Obi-Wan. This is not my Harry
This is
Potter.
not my Harry Potter.
Now, Charlie,
I just think people would be mad.
You did describe Fantastic
Go ahead.
Beasts with a young Dumbledore at Hogwarts.
Never heard of it. No. It would never work.
Preposterous, sir.
Just saying.
Preposterous.
I'm just saying.
No, look, I want a hot young Dumbledore. I want him shirtless by the pool. I want a young Dumbledore out there picking up lady wizards.
Younger than Jude Law too. Like, give us some young Dumbledore.
Yeah, give me like
And he's not picking up women. He was picking up
He's
men.
he's like
Just
shirtless
like
by the pool. He's picking up whoever he wants. He's like, you want to see a little magic? Come on. You want to see a magic trick, baby?
Yeah, he's
Dumbledore.
the Joker. You want to see him? You want to see a magic trick, baby? I'm not even British anymore. Hey, and laugh.
An Andrew Dice Clay type is what that role was really missing.
Oh god.
Just get Andrew Dice Clay to play Dumbledore. Andrew Dice Clay.
Hey, get over here, Harry Potter. We gotta
Sorcerer's Stone.
the guy, huh? Dumbledore or whatever. Dumbledore.
Snape, he's not a bad guy.
Oh, over here. He who shall not be named. Oh. But if this hasn't made you angry, I don't know what will. I'm mad at myself for even talking about this.
I agree. I'm offended,
It's too ridiculous.
sir, and I'm offended. And Bro tweets to Star Wars.
Although I will say, I've talked myself into the idea of them remaking this as a TV show.
Charlie, I was going to say, in a previous episode, we did it might have even been a top 10 back when we were doing top 10s of top 10 TVs that we want to be remade into, or movies that we want to be remade into TV shows. And this was on your list.
Wouldn't it be so good as a TV show? It'd be so good.
I mean, it actually would be pretty good.
And that gives it and that premise, I think, look, people would still be super angry, but it gives it a reason to be done. Like it's a totally different format. Yes. You could actually tell the story of the books and like long detail, all the stuff that's missing from the movie. So you get the book people on board because you're like, hey, you were mad at the movies anyway because they cut out all your favorite parts. We're gonna get those in the TV shows, and we're gonna cast some great young actors. We're gonna have Andrew Dice Clay's Dumbledore. It's gonna be perfect. Brody, can you put a link to Andrew Dice Clay? Because I feel like that's a really dated reference that people aren't going to understand. Above Dylan, there's a video of Andrew Dice Clay doing stand-up comedy from the 80s. Go ahead and give that a watch. Click to the trailer for The Adventures of Ford Fairlane or something.
Yes.
Why are you
the Dice Man himself over here.
Dice
why
Man,
are you making me edit?
Well, don't look up his
Red Rover.
Why are you making me edit, Charlie?
You don't actually have to do it. If you're curious, feel free just to spend some time on YouTube looking up Andrew Dice Clay. You will. Oh, there he is. The Dice Man.
Dice Man. I'm Dumbledore over here. Come on. Oh,
come on over here.
You want to
there you go. There you go.
He had a great cameo in a TV show called Raising Hope. He played himself, holding like a tech conference of like new invention ideas. He was great.
There you go. All right. Well, that's a good pick. Although, yeah.
Although we've just you've convinced us otherwise, sir.
I've talked myself into a TV show.
I don't know. A show. We'll see. But all right, you guys.
We got to talk about this.
Oh, you guys were curious what my original number three was.
Yeah, what was your number 3?
My original number 3 was going to be A Clockwork Orange, because I think, I think it was like, it's classic enough and controversial enough that if you remade it, you would either have to water it down, which would upset a lot of people, or you would have to, or it would just be too much for today, which would anger people. So like either way that you did it, if you tried to redo it, it would just anger people, because I just don't think you could redo it. Right.
No. Do
we have time for me to shoot a couple movies at you just to see if you guys would be mad or not?
Sure.
The Princess Bride.
Oh, that's a good one. That shouldn't be remade.
Die Hard.
How would you remake that? How could you remake that and make it good? They can't even continue with sequels and make them good.
That's a very good point.
Tell me how it could be done, and don't give me TV show. Because him and Nakatomi building is not a season of Die Hard. Cannot work. Can't do it. It was in real time.
Of a 12 episode season. It's like the terrorists don't even arrive until episode 4.
You can't do it.
I'm not advocating for these to get remade. What about The Godfather? The Godfather.
I don't think that could be done and done well. I don't think it could be done well. See, I mean, and I think a lot of people would be pissed by that one. That one, I think, out of the 3 you just said, I think that one would be the most upsetting to people, because
Blazing Saddles.
Oh, I thought about Blazing Saddles when I did Monty Python. I was like, what about Blazing Saddles? I don't think
people would be angry. I don't think they could do it well, but
I just don't think it would work.
I don't think it would work, but I don't think people would be upset. I don't think people would be that upset. A lot of people might.
Back to the Future.
Everybody would be upset. Everybody. You can't. I don't know how you could remake
with
that.
With the young Tom Holland playing the Michael J. Fox role.
And RDJ as Doc. That's the only way I could see it. So I guess that would be okay. If that's the case,
we're back on board.
I'd do it in a heartbeat. Or if you really wanted to do it, you'd switch and have RDJ play Marty and have Tom Holland play Doc.
Oh gosh.
He's all like, Marty. I would absolutely love to see that even the most now.
Well, let us know in the comments what are some of your beloved movies that you would just never want to see remade, or maybe you're getting excited about Harry Potter the TV show. Let us know below. see if we can talk yourself into some of these remakes. I don't think we can, but it's always fun to kind of banter with you guys, and make sure you click below for more content, and like and subscribe below that beautiful beard, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Go on, Die Hard the TV show.
No, oh my Charlie, gosh. No.